Here she comes.
There she is.
Yes.
There she is.
Are you gonna get down and play now too? No.
He's like, nope, I'm staying.
Hey, we don't need to go outside right now, bud.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oopsie.
No. Come on. I don't understand. That's fine. Go outside. Oh, then grab a chair, buddy. You can't just climb up on the table. Landry, you have to share. You have to share.
What are those?
What are what? On television? I don't know. You're watching Puppy Dog Pals.
No, those.
The ceiling?
No, the light.
Okay, well then they're the lights if you're pointing to the lights.
What is this one?
All right.
Yari, did you ever play around with Instagram?
I did not. Just the thought of it made me
Hey, Mommy needs you to jump down.
like,
Yes.
I hate this. Hi, Brandon.
Why is Kirsten jump? Why is
I need
Kirsten?
both of y'all to move. Yeah. Hey, Mama needs some space.
I had to lock the door.
You did have some space.
I don't have any space. I need y'all to move. On my count to 3. That's a good idea. What?
Move like this.
Well, no, I need you off of my lap is what I meant. Yeah, we'll snuggle later. Landry, be careful, baby.
No.
Camden?
But I'm realizing Lay is with some boundaries. I don't know if it's like
I just need to start with
realistic boundaries or like
I'll let you know when you can.
I'm being melodramatic.
Okay. Hey, what did I just tell you? I told you I'll let you know when you can come back, okay?
All right, let me remember how I did this. Okay, I see. All right, we're gonna wait for Shernetti and Zandy.
Camden,
What are you
baby.
now?
No.
And I don't see you.
Okay.
Real life.
Yes. Here. You want to do it like this to make it easier? There you go.
Okay.
Hamilton, come in.
All right, so we have a few minutes before we go on because here's one stereotype: colored people time.
CPT. Crazy, isn't it?
I'm like, I'm gonna kill them.
I had a
Yari,
big.
Let us talk about your punctuality in the last 15 years.
That part, Janet, that part. Yari is never on time.
Don't
for
give us
any-
that look. You know, I would show up to your mom's house and I knew you were not going to be there for at least an hour or 2.
It's different in my personal life, man. This is business.
Yari, I can barely hear you. Is
I can't
anybody
hear
else having
her.
trouble hearing her?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't hear her.
Oh no! Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
Better? Okay, maybe it's because it's on.
Because I
Is
need
that
to use
better now? Or
Like
still-
something?
Is that
Yep.
better now?
That's better. A
Better?
little bit.
I
It's
want it to be.
still low.
Yeah, it's still low, but
Let me see. Is that better?
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
do
that
you have
better?
headphones there?
Can you guys let Hamilton back
I don't
in?
know where they're at.
Close the door, please.
Is that better though?
Better?
No.
A little.
I
I
don't know.
would say probably about the same.
I don't know what the difference in the sound is. I don't know what's going on. What's going on? Let me see. Internal microphone.
Landry's dancing outside. let's talk about another stereotype that white people can't dance. And because my white,
For TikTok, that is not a stereotype anymore. Like that is.
that's fact.
No.
I mean, let me just tell you.
Way better than me.
No. Like, they got their dad's dance moves for real. Because I used to try to dance with their father, and his arms would be flailing everywhere. And I could not even come close to, like, staying on beat because his arms were everywhere, and I couldn't figure it out. Like, I'm just like, I can't dance with you. I can't dance with you. So Landry's break dancing right now. It's just a 3-year-old spinning around doing weird things. So not yet. You can come sit right here if you'd like in a chair.
All right, is my sound better now?
It's the same.
Does it sound like this in Pilates?
That's how you sound in Pilates.
Okay, but close the door then.
Sound like this last time we were on? Do I
I
sound?
don't think so.
Do I sound unclear?
No, it's just kind of quiet.
Yeah, that's it.
You're not.
Wait. What do you mean go outside? You can go out on the deck. You can't go out front. No, Mama's doing something. You have to have someone with you. Gee. What? No, baby, I'm doing something right now. You want to help him open the door?
Unlock it. I can't. I can't.
How are you, Jeanette?
I'm good. How are you, Derry?
I'm good. How's Chloe?
Grown. Gonna be 17 next week.
17. Shut your face. Stop it.
Senior in high school. Oh my God, I can't.
Stop
I'm ready.
it. That just
I'm
made
ready.
me feel super old for some reason. Like,
Watching
she's
your
like
voice.
10. Stop.
I mean, she may act like she's 13, but she's really gonna be 17.
Oh my
I can't
gosh.
I can't wait. I'm gonna have my house all to myself.
Wait, where is she thinking about for school?
I don't know what she want to do yet. We're gonna start looking at college because she's about to be a
Close the
senior.
door.
So
You can say that.
Let me see here.
I don't think she want to go out of state.
Okay.
Hey, girl.
Hey.
How are you? You've arrived.
Hello.
Hi, I feel like everybody is way further away from their camera there. There.
Stranger. Hi. I see a familiar face or two. Hi, Sharnetti. Hi, my girl. How are you?
Everybody introduce
Oh,
themselves.
good.
Are you ready for that, dear?
Yeah, I mean, this is just amongst us, and then I'm going to go hit live. I was waiting on Rashawn, but she said she was going to be 5 minutes late, so I'm like,
Let me get
We're
my
7.
phone
We're at
ready.
7.
Stop it. Who's counting?
Xandra, you wouldn't happen to know how to go Instagram live where, I don't know, never mind. I have to figure it out when I'm not doing this.
I was like, girl, no, I don't do all that. I don't. I work in technology, and interestingly enough, I don't.
Yeah,
I'm
let the dog
I'm
in.
not tech savvy.
Andrew, what's the dog in the freezer?
I know how to go live, just not the way I want to.
Gary, was anybody new in your Pilates class this evening?
No.
Come look it. Fast.
No.
Don't do it, Landry. You're gonna crush your. Landry!
Hey, can you please not? Can you please not?
Okay, well, I thought I knew how
Try
to.
not to yell about stuff while I'm on this, please. Okay. Not right now.
Found it. Yay. Okay.
Mommy,
What?
I'm in the snuggle. I can't.
Tell her one more time.
Stop yelling. I'm trying to.
I'm on a baby deadline, a baby boob deadline.
When I press the button and then I laugh right now. Hey.
Please. I want to.
That red cup there now.
Why are you like that, Mom?
Let me move someplace
Why you
else.
like that?
Why am I like that? Why are you like that?
I'm not. If you like that, you're spooky. You're a spooky, Mom.
I am?
No.
Bye. All right. She had a malfunction, but she's signing up now.
Yeah. Please get out of my lap.
I'm not
Landry and
gonna-
Camden.
I'm not
Hey,
stunning.
I need some personal space, guys.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh.
No, you're fine. Get out.
We're a kid in the way.
Hey, go do literally anything else, okay?
Gary, I didn't hear anything. You
No,
just
I don't know what
said.
you said either.
The thing about Zoom is if two people are talking at once, then it sounds really hectic.
Hamilton probably wanted pizza.
I'm gonna cancel out.
Good check.
So, Janet, what I would suggest is there is. I don't want to
What
personally
did you say?
but
What did you say?
if you want to mute yourself,
Oh, I will when other people aren't talking. Yeah, don't, or I'm not talking. Yep. Can you stop?
Hi.
Hi.
watch out too. Oh, there she goes. Let me see here. I hate to turn the screen sideways, but that's the only way I know how to do this.
All right, everyone. Hello. Sorry. Always late.
Hey, girl. Hey.
All right, everybody.
Hey.
Let me plug my phone in. Out, ready. Hey, Shanette.
All right, we are officially live, guys. I'm going to go ahead and go live on Facebook just so I can have everything up and going. Hang on.
How's my bun? No, just kidding. Bun check.
Good check. Hey, Sandra. How are you?
Hi. Long time, girlie. How are you?
Ooh, I am tired. It has been stressful out here in these streets.
Oh, tell me about it. You guys don't know this, but literally over the weekend, I just took in 2 little boys. One's 5 and one's 9.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I know. They have some troubled parents and stuff like that or whatever, and I just wanted to give them a safe place to stay. So they're crashing with me, and hopefully I'll get to foster them and keep them for a long, long time.
Nice.
Good for you.
Congratulations.
Oh yeah, they're at the beach right now. I'm at home. They're at the beach. Life is good for them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That
It's
is.
great. It's really great. I didn't think I always wanted more kids because for those of you who don't know me, hi, Sandra. I have a 20-year-old, almost 21. She's in her second year of college, going into her third. And so I always wanted more kids, but I wanted to do it the right way, right? Like get married and all of that kind of stuff or whatever. That hasn't happened. So, and now here I am. So
That's really great.
Yeah.
it is.
So I'm glad you started there, Xander, because we like to start our intentional conversation with kind of like just giving off our hats of where we are, the roles we play in our life. And right now I am, as I was saying earlier, the mommy that's learning boundaries.
Boundaries for you or boundaries for the babies?
Oh, both. Because the thing is, if I don't teach myself to have boundaries, I can't really give them to them. And so I realized that I've really lacked a lot of boundaries in my life.
Yes, you do. Yes, yes, you do.
Hey, here we go.
Say it again.
Like, wow. Yeah, so that a light bulb went off earlier when I was just like, wow, Liana, you have some work to do. But very well.
I actually don't struggle with boundaries because I have like a little bit of OCD and all of that kind of stuff. So for me, I don't have a problem with crucial conversations. I don't have a problem setting up boundaries and establishing them for people and having, enforcing them. And everything. So I'm very routine. Like I get up at the same time every morning. I have the same thing for breakfast. But for me, I need that structure. I need that kind of order. Because if like I always say this to my friends, if my home life is in a disarray and my job is in a disarray, I can't function. Like my job is stressful as it is. And so for me, my home life has to be sort of sanctuary place for me. I need to be, and I work from home too. So I have to have structure and order and a place that is like peaceful and stuff. So
What do you do, Xandra?
I'm in marketing and I am in marketing technology. So we market products to like businesses and stuff. And it's a lot. My job it can go from some days where you're working like maybe 3 or 4 hours. And then other times I'm 16-hour days, for a period of time or whatever. So it's good money and it's great. But again, it's very demanding. So it doesn't leave you a whole lot of time to do any of the other things you might want to do. Which is why DRE, I'm always saying, like, I can't go on that trip. I can't do that. I can't do that. So.
Yeah, and it's funny because I feel like a lot of my friends who I've known for quite some time, they are the me that I've never been. And that part of me, I've always struggled with having routine and, sticking with structure and creating systems that work. And, that I have learned to love, but I've hated the word process, like just creating the process. And that's been such a struggle for me. And so to hear you say that, I'm like, you are all the things I've always, when I grow up, Sandra, I want to be you.
No, because she's still, there's some things I definitely need to work on. I would say that for me, and I don't want to like monopolize this whole conversation, like I want to hear from other people too. I got good at those things because of what I do for my work, right? My work is very process driven. It is very structured. I have to be organized. I have to be all those things. And it just made for it to be easier to do in my personal life or whatever. But like I still struggle on certain things. Like I'll give you a great example. I struggle with time management, right? I struggle with like logging off of my computer, putting work down and taking time for myself. I don't do that enough at all. And now I've added this extra layer of something to my life, and I feel like it's just going to get even more complex and chaotic. But yeah, I still struggle with finding time for me to be able to like take a moment and go get a massage or take a walk or any of those self-care things. Totally struggle with all of it.
Now is a perfect time to change that because you're in such a huge transition now. Girl, put that in the front of the list.
Yeah,
it is. Before that, like, I don't know if you guys, you guys heard like the bucket list and all that stuff, how people do bucket lists. So before COVID happened, I started what I called a fuck it list. And these are all the things. I'll whip it out. I will show it to you. It has like 19, 20 things on it. And I got this idea from somebody, the chick that was doing my nails, and she was telling me that she was doing it. And it's all the things that are not attached to things that you would normally be doing, right? So you normally say, hey, I'm going to pay my bills on time. Oh, I'm going to schedule more time with my husband. You normally be doing this. This is a list of things that you literally are like, if money wasn't an option, if time wasn't an issue, if circumstances wasn't an issue, what would you really want to be doing? And it could be almost anything, right? So one of the things on mine is like to skydive finally, to learn how to do video stuff on my phone. It's silly little things. Go to the gun range, learn how to shoot a gun, all of those kind of things. So I just haven't picked up that list since COVID, but I definitely think it's a good thing to revisit.
You want everybody else to introduce themselves?
Please.
I don't know who's at the top of your screen, dear.
Doris, you are.
Oh, okay. So I'm Doris. I am Diari's younger sister. Hi, you guys. I know most of you guys, but let's see. I am, like I said, number 6 of 8 siblings. I am a mother to 3 beautiful baby boys. I call them my, not baby boys. They're not babies anymore, but I call them my A team: Anton, Adrian, and Austin. They're 12, 7, and 5 years old. I have a wonderful husband. I am a newly certified nurse midwife. More recently, I was working as a labor and delivery registered nurse, but decided to advance my career. So now looking for a job as a midwife. Let's see what else. Other hat. I am learning again because I feel like on just speaking on routine and things. I feel like I had a routine before school, right? My program was 2.5 years. And, when stuff got heavy in my program, I feel like I dropped everything to focus on my program. I did a lot of traveling in my program. I did a lot of traveling at the beginning of my program for work. I was a travel labor and delivery nurse at the beginning of it. And then in order to fulfill some requirements for school, I had to do some traveling. So it was like I was always moving around, right? So my routines totally went out the window. And now that I'm not, and then, COVID happened and all that stuff. So now that I have no school, like I have nothing to study for. Well, I do have another board to study for, but we won't talk about that right now. So essentially I'm very free right now, but I'm learning how to get back into my routines now. And obviously one of the things that I wanted to try to take a hold of while especially during this quarantine, because I was like, you know what, this is my motivation. I'm going to come out this quarantine, people that haven't seen me in months, and they're going to be like, woo, quarantine did you good, because I am determined to lose the 30 pounds that I gained during school plus some. So
You.
but yeah, that's me right now.
All right.
Love it. Who's next?
Janet, can you hear me? No.
Yes, hi, I'm Janet. Sorry, I know it's extremely cute watching other people eat, but somebody put food near me, therefore I started eating. I have known Diari and Doris for, we've been very close, I'd say, since high school. That was kind of my second family. I kind of explain your household as one of my safe havens that I had while we were in high school, and they have been a treasure for me since then. I always make it a point to get together with them whenever I'm back in town in Atlanta. So I grew up in Decatur, but I'm now
living now.
But I'm now in Minnesota, kind of a rural-ish area in Minnesota. And let me tell you, when I moved to Minnesota, I was real excited to go to a blue state. And I'm not in a blue county. And so that's been a new experience for me. And now we know what's going on in Minneapolis. So that's another topic of discussion. Can you hold on, please? And so that's been obviously a very big deal over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, trying to explain a lot of the things that are going on in their neighborhood, not their immediate neighborhood, but around us and in connective, yes, please be quiet, connected areas. So it's, like I said, we're in rural Minnesota at this point. There's not a lot of physical diversity. So we've primarily tried to make sure that they are able to access books, movies, shows, toys that show that they will not always have people around them that look like them, and making sure that they are familiar with diversity as much as possible. And actually, one of the other transitions, or my personal transition that I've been going through lately, is everything with my divorce was finalized in February. So I now have a new safe space, or not, I shouldn't say safe. It was a very peaceful situation. I mean, I can say safe, yes, but free space, I should say. And it's been a very positive experience, but the way everything lined up with COVID was everything was finalized. So I stayed there because everything was so peaceful and so good. So I stayed there until everything was finalized. I stayed a little bit longer even after that, until my new place was ready because it was being built. And so then quarantine started. So that was really a different experience. I knew I was going to be alone, and I knew I was okay with it and comfortable and excited for it, but it initially felt really heavy and different because it was so forced, and I was excited about different freedoms that I hadn't previously experienced, but then there was another piece of freedom that was taken from me, which made it a very interesting, different experience, but it's been a fantastic one. I still feel lighter and freer than I have in a very long time, on the home front at least. So I feel like we're going to get into the topics of the other areas that have been weighing us down in the last week or two. So I'll kind of leave it at that at this point.
Just to add though,
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
Just to add to that, I think that these topics, and this is not a jab or anything, but I think that these topics that I do want to get into, they are so like in our face for the last week or two, but they have been issues that I've dealt with, I feel like, my entire life. So I have to say that, like, I have to say, well, yeah, while we are becoming more aware recently, this is something that is not anything new at all.
Absolutely.
Not political.
Right. No. And I really hope you, and I know
I did not
you
get that from what you were saying, Janet. Not,
okay.
No. That's not why I said that.
You know me, but just so everyone else here is aware that I did not mean that in any way, shape, or form as it being a new thing.
I said it's definitely not a jab. You are a huge advocate of Black people. So, and anybody that knows you, that you're a huge advocate of anyone that is remotely different.
Of human rights. She's a huge advocate for humans.
Yeah. So I want to put that out there too. And I think that too, for me, getting into it, it's like, to avoid trying to offend someone, especially like people that aren't on this panel, is going to be impossible. That's just, I think that people are going to be uncomfortable, and even talking about it and being Black my entire life, it's like, I read a post that, was it you that posted it, that people that are uncomfortable about talking about being uncomfortable makes me uncomfortable?
That's a good one.
It's like, I can't remember who posted that, but I was just like, yeah, that's so true. But all right, Jenna, go ahead.
Oh, I'm up.
Yes.
Gosh, listening to all you ladies, I'm like, there's so many different avenues I could talk about. But I'm going to start with how I met Diari. And I hosted a women's event. And it was a time I was going through my life where I was struggling, being a mom, marriage, like, and so I decided I'm going to throw an event, and all these other moms that I know who are struggling with the same stuff go. And we had a wonderful time. And I hired her without even meeting her. Just on the phone, I fell in love with her. And she graciously came and took great care of us. And I've always bonded with her. We always go through growth spurts together. Big surprise, I'm in the midst of one. All right, so I'm 47 years old in this white, body my whole life. I'm struggling these last 2 weeks with being ashamed to be in my skin.
Oh, honey.
My truth. I'm married to a Black man. I've gave birth to 3 Black children. My heart hurts. I'm struggling right now with it.
You're gonna make me cry.
You know me, girl. It's been a struggle. And then boundaries, right? We can all relate to boundaries. Every single one of us can. And so I'm in the midst of putting boundaries into place with my kids and my husband. And I just messed it up again tonight. Like, I chose, instead of getting on and doing Pilates and telling my family I need me time, I decided I needed to make my husband pizza and take care of him so that I could get on this call. But I chose to do that. And then I yelled at everybody because I chose to do that rather than saying, no, this is what I need. Make your own pizza, So I'm disgusted with myself. I don't like my behavior. I'm working on it. I don't like that people used to call me the UN. I don't seek out Black men. I fell in love with my husband, not because he was Black. I've dated every race. I'm not this. I'm not what people see. And it's upsetting. So that's who I am. But I have 3 kids, a 13-year-old boy, who's turning into a young Black man. I have a 11-year-old girl and a 7-year-old girl. And I homeschooled 2 of them. And the reason I homeschooled my last one is I didn't like that my first 2 came home in 1st grade, scared that their dad was going to get arrested because he was married to a white woman. And it was taught to them. And it really emotionally did some damage. And my 3rd one, I was like, oh, hell no, you're not getting her too. You're not going to get her too and make her feel less than at 6. Like, why are we doing this in our school systems? It needs to be changed. And it, to me, is a government keeping us separated, keeping people of color dumbed down and where they can't grow and catch up. It's so I thought, I thanked Diari for inviting me because I want to talk, but I have to be able to express this to grow, to learn more, to figure this shit out. So who's next?
Hello. I'm Shamati. Gosh, when did I met Dior? Back in 2012 when I moved to Alpharetta. I work for the Disney store. Yes, I'm all about magic for over 15 years. I love what I do. I'm furloughed right now, so Disney's closed. But I'm home with my 17-year-old daughter, Chloe. Will be 17 next week, which is scary.
Yes, Chloe.
Child. My adorable chocolate drop. I love her. She's so gorgeous. I'm from Jamaica, West Indies. And I was planning on going to Jamaica this year with Sandra. Fortunately. That was our big plan, but all of this happened. So I don't know, just taking it one day at a time. It's a lot to process we're all going through emotions right now. Just have to find a place or someone to talk to about it, because I'm pretty sure you're not the only one who feels the way you're feeling right now, who's in a
Yeah.
interracial relationship. And I feel like people who's in those relationships probably have it a little harder, because, some people won't understand your pain and what you're going through. But it's where the heart's at, I feel. And I didn't even look at it that way, to be quite honest, but listen to what you're saying and think about those wife or those men or women who love being in their relationship, and they don't want to pick side, but they don't know how to deal with this. It's a tough, and a tough situation, and it's a hard conversation to have, but let's talk about it.
So necessary.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's it. That's all I got right now. Next. All right, Rashani.
I am Rashani. Don't call me
Everybody got a
Rashani, by
nickname.
the way.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Everybody gets a knee at the end of their name.
Uh,
No.
I am Rashawn. Diari and I have been friends since, well, probably about 12 years now? Has it been about that long? Um, I know Darice, I know Zandra, I know Shernette, Jenna is very good to meet you guys. I've actually heard a lot about you too, because Diari never shuts up about anybody, so
Yeah.
I feel like I know all about y'all anyway. But
That's true.
yeah, gosh, talk about transition. Yeah, I pretty much everything in my life has changed this year. Um, I worked with Diari. We worked together with the Little Yogis and the Fitness Remedy. Um, I actually got laid off.
Not for me. Not for me.
I was like, dang.
Wait, no, sorry. I actually had what I considered just a safe job that I could do. While we're working to get, the Little Yogis Fitness or anywhere it was supposed to be, had the safe job, and had the security. But I mean, one thing after another this year has taught me that security is not real. Safety doesn't really exist, and so it actually makes me very excited
Ooh.
because now it's just kind of like, okay, well, I didn't really like that job. I kept it because it was the smart thing to do. But it reminds me of like a quote that actually Jim Carrey said. But his father, he had took a safe job in an insurance company because he had a wife and kids to raise. And he got laid off when Jim was probably about 12 or something like that. And he said that's when he learned that you could fail at doing the safe thing. So you might as well do the thing you love.
Yeah,
That, you know,
that's a great one.
yeah, and I kind of stumbled across that right around that time, and I was thinking, well, yeah, so there, I don't have anything holding me that I don't want anymore. So, um, and as far as what's going on right now and life right now, it also, of all the emotions that I also feel, I also feel excitement and hopeful because this is not something new and it's not something that I haven't had to, deal with my whole life as well. But things need to change and we're at an opportunity where things can change. So will they change? Because like I said, this is also not the first time we've been here either.
Right.
But
We got a lot of work to do.
yeah. And we definitely do. But maybe, maybe this time there will be some change, because I mean, we can sit around and say, oh, nothing's going to change, but then we'd just be miserable. We'd be miserable and angry. So why not hope that there'd be change this time?
I'm
But
hopeful.
yeah, yeah.
Hopeful. I saw it kind of leads me to I saw a post about Walmart, and this could just very well lead us into some of the discussion. And it was saying how they took now growing up in the 90s, uh, and I think I addressed this earlier. I was talking to someone, and I worked at Eckerd, which was turned into Rite Aid. I was like a photo tech. And when you walk around the store, and I worked right off of Wesley Chapel, and Wesley Chapel at the time was predominantly Black. When you walk around the store, like all of the advertisements, all of the products were geared towards white people. And so I saw a post, breaking news, Walmart has now unlocked the multiracial products, and now we can freely get them without unlocking a box. And I was just like, well, there's a step, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's just talk about microaggressions for a second.
Yeah.
Because I mean, and these are things that have happened our whole lives. You know, maybe as a kid I was naive or ignorant to what was going on. I might have thought of them as compliments, if you will. You know, oh, you're so smart. Oh, you're so you talk so proper for a Black girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, how exactly do a Black girl talk? Like,
Or
am
is
I
it's
supposed?
supposed to talk, or is supposed to talk in their mind, right? Like, how should you sound to them? Like, what is your perception that you're pushing off on me?
Right, right. You know, but I mean, and it's microaggressions in everything, even down to our hair. No, you can't touch my hair. Yes, my hair is different from yours. Why if you Google, somebody posted this the other day, if you Google professional hairstyles for man, all the white men with the slick down hair, whatever, nice haircuts will show up. If you Google unprofessional hairstyles for men, you're going to see Black men with locks, no matter how well groomed they are. Black men with locks and our natural hair. You can do the same for women. For us women, you're going to see, for the unprofessional styles, you're going to see the curls and stuff. Why is the way that my hair comes naturally out of my head? Why is that considered to be unprofessional?
Yeah.
And it's funny that you bring this up. And I wanted to specifically talk about this because I had a moment. Jenna, you can't see her hair, but she has luscious locks, like super Barbie doll type hair. And I had a moment where at one point in time, I thought in my head, I want to ask her if that's her hair. But I've been asked many times, is that your hair? And how I feel that is such an inappropriate thing to say to a person, because I'm like thinking, why can't this just be my hair? Like, are all Black girls bald? Like,
I used to not even with straight hair. For those of you guys that know me, I used to wear my afro picked out. Just my normal hair picked out. Okay. And people would come to me, is that your hair? Did you add in pieces? Are you wearing a wig? And I'm like, I have an afro. Like,
so my question is, so I'm gonna ask Jenny this. Have you ever been approached where someone has said, can I touch your hair, or is that your real hair?
Absolutely not.
You've never been approached or asked, is that your real hair?
Absolutely not. And for those of you who don't know me, for those of you who know me, know that I'm kind of a person. Don't do me.
I know I'm going to approach her to touch her hair.
Nope. Nope. Absolutely not. And I think just to clarify, I think it's because I give off this vibe of like, don't, maybe it's not approachable. But I don't really want to say that, because I think like I'm a friendly person. So if you ever hung out with me, you're like, I've never met a stranger in my life. But at the same time, it may go back to that boundary situation where I have very specific boundaries.
Mhm.
And I also have a rule: don't step over. When I put that boundary there with you, don't cross that line. Because if you do, I'm gonna cross it back with you. We're gonna have a different kind of conversation. Because I'm also not afraid of crucial conversation, right? So no, I've not been approached. Now, that's not to say that I've not been asked, like by people, like especially since I have, grades or whatever. Like people will say, like, when I say people in the situation, I definitely mean Caucasian people, because Black people, they kind of know, so they won't ask you stuff like that, and so it's always Caucasian. Little, but I always took it up to like the person. So like one lady, before I started growing my hair in, because it used to be all shaved off on the sides and everything. And I was in the bank, and this little old white lady was like, "Oh my God, my daughter has hair exactly like yours." And I'm thinking, but because she was elderly, I just was like, "Oh, that's cute," and kind of just went on about my business. You know what I mean? But that was it. So no, I don't. That was the only time I can actually think of somebody literally asking me to touch my hair, or you know what I mean, like something like that.
Mhm.
So my question is to Jenna, have you ever been asked that?
No. Mm-mm. White
Yes.
people are afraid to ask. They actually don't even understand extensions. They don't get it. I mean, whenever, I did have, a couple girlfriends that had enough to drink to ask, like, how is your hair so thick? And I was like, well, let me show you, and separated. And they're like, and I pulled it out. They're like, what? You can sew that in? And in our world, it's not a known thing, but I did hair for 27 years. So to me, I get it and I know it. And the only reason I did it, because Diary, when we were on our trip, it was all natural. I've just aged and these people have stressed me out. So my hair's thin. So I don't have them in now. This is all my hair, but nobody would ask me that. No.
So wait, let me ask you this. So like you're saying, like even like it's not like between white women. White women don't like ask each other like, "Hey, let me
No.
touch your hair," and do all of those kind of things or whatever.
Why would they? It's not different. So to them, like my hair is just like theirs, and if I can make it look natural, they don't get the concept of fake.
Right.
They don't do it.
Even though in culture today there are more white women who actually do wear extensions and do all those things, it still is not a part of the norm. Right. It's still not a part of the norm.
No.
I wonder where that started from with like Black people, like, you know what I mean? Like why? And I don't know. Like you guys tell me what you think, whether you agree or disagree or not. But I don't know if between Black people we do that. Like at least I'm the same way, maybe. Because like I know I've been curious. Like if I see somebody, like let's use Darcy as an example. If I saw you out with an app, I'm like, okay, hey girl, listen, I want to know how you got your hair to grow like that big, because maybe I'm trying it. Like I can see people doing that, but like I always think it's weird when it's like a white person asking me. It's like you got to know that that's not appropriate.
You know what?
But then again,
I
don't know.
I know from experience with me trying to connect with Black hairdressers that worked for me, with Black clients that would come in. I feel like if we compliment, it's kind of like, whatever. Why are you saying anything about my hair? And I think it's our way of connecting. Like, I want to touch it. I want to touch you. We're touchy-feely people. You got boundaries we don't know about. Where you're like, girl, this boundary's up and you know nothing. Back up. Where we're like, I want to connect with you. I do want to touch it. I am curious. So it's funny. I have a girlfriend who also is raising a mixed race child, and they used to come over and pet her hair. Like, can I? And it used to put her to the moon that somebody would do that. And I would take a different approach where I'd be like, have you never touched anybody of color? Get over here. Touch her hair. Like, that's a shame. You don't know what this feels like. And I took a different approach. I don't know if my daughter appreciated that. but I felt like expose these poor children that aren't allowed to touch people's hair. Like, I don't know.
Me personally, I don't want anyone patting me or touching me.
Well, as
Right.
adults, no, Diari, but I'm talking, these are innocent children.
No,
Not even as a child, though.
people do that
No.
in Atlanta all the time. The first thing they do is want to rub their hands in their hair and touch your hair. They used to, and I'd be like, first of all, you shouldn't be touching anyone else's baby. But secondly, my daughter's not an animal. Like,
Right. And I get
Right.
that. I do understand that. It does feel that way.
I get that, you know, trying to relate, and you saying this, because I also talked about this earlier, how like if a black girl said, "Oh girl, your hair is so beautiful," I would take it like, "Oh yes, yes, yes," and then if a white girl would say, "Oh my goodness, your hair is so beautiful," and it happens all the time, I kind of feel like,
Hey, babe.
Right. Thanks.
It's hard to compliment without it feeling like
like
not sincere, I guess.
Yeah, and so we were talking about this, like we have grown to be, we use the word guarded, like, you know, is this, you know, is this a innocent thing? And which coming from you and like my friends that I know, I feel like, you know, it is very, I remember one of my good friends, she was just sitting there rubbing Leanna's hair, and I was just looking at her thinking, oh my God, I just want to tell you, stop doing it. And she's a white girl. And I, you know, but I also knew that it wasn't coming from a malicious place, but I do know speaking for the majority, I feel like, you know, and this is an educational platform to educate all my white folks out there. Yeah, black folks don't like that.
That's hilarious. So that's a culture across the board, hands off
Across the board. Let me say two things. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Janet.
Are you sure?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say, I think of when I was growing up, that the vast majority of my friends when I was younger were black, and I used to beg my mom to braid my hair, and my mom would try to explain to me, like, this is an appropriate thing to like essentially in before cultural appropriation was a more commonly known term. She didn't use those words. I don't think she had that, you know, that phrase or that knowledge of what that was, but she knew it wasn't really appropriate. And she would, bless her heart, would let me, she'd sit and she'd braid my hair in little tiny braids and say, you have to take them out before you go to school though. Hold on, please.
Cultural appropriation, like, is it?
Well,
like, I'm ignorant in this factor.
Well, I feel like at that time, in the 90s, the only people that I was around that had little braids in their hair were black girls. And my mom, I think, was aware that this isn't appropriate. And I also remember, like, going into middle school and things, my mom would say, you don't ask to touch somebody else's hair, but if they ask you if they can touch yours, you say yes. And having those conversations with her, and I'm lucky that I had the mother that I did, please stop yelling. But in terms of like, I'm just a touchy-feely person too. However, I feel like there are a lot of people that are white that don't understand the oil in white people's hair is different from the oil in black people's hair, and hands in it all the time is gonna mess up stuff for other people that it's not gonna mess up for us. So don't be putting your hands in other people's hair. Like, but I'm always touching my kids' hair, but it's different. It's so different. And
I think it's not even dealing with the oil. I think it more so making it seem like we're animals. I think
Right.
no, I see. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I pet my dog, and even people will walk up to you and say, is it okay if I pet your dog? Like, so when you approach me and says, is it okay if I touch you?
Oh, dang.
Is it okay if I pet you? And I'm like, no.
Right.
I don't want your hands in my hair.
All
Girl,
of
you
my
say
boys
you
have locks, and even Adrian, when he first got his locks like 2 years ago, we had on 2 different occasions we had people come up to him and want to rub his locks. and twist his locks. And he was a kid. I mean, he's still a kid, but imagine a 5-year-old. But he was even like, why are you touching my hair? And one of them, we went to a salon and he knew the loctician, like, okay, that's the only person that's in your head or whatever. But it was actually the lady that owned the salon came in and started touching his hair, who he had never seen before. And he was like, can you please not touch my hair? And she took offense to it. And so she was like, oh, Mom, does he have an attitude? And I'm like, lady, he said don't touch his hair. Don't touch his hair. You're not doing his hair. His loctician is. So
I think it goes also to, he has really epic yawns. I think speaking of, he said not to touch his hair, it goes back to something else that we don't even have to cover now because you know me. We'll go all in on the topic of consent as well.
absolutely.
But that's another thing. Like that fact that there is far too frequently, okay, women alone, but Black women not even giving someone the opportunity to give their consent and give whether or not they're okay with those things happening to their body, to their life, to what's going on. And I think that's another thing we could discuss.
Absolutely. And then the second thing that I wanted to say really quickly is, do I think white people that do this are racist? No, not all of them, obviously, and do I think all of them come from a malicious place? Absolutely not. But let's talk about execution. When you have good intentions, but your execution is totally wrong. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to throw out a couple of headliner events that has happened recently. So like Nancy Pelosi, she went and all these Democrats went and got these kente cloths and decided they wanted to kneel. Whoever idea that was,
What are you doing here?
I don't care how good of intention, and these are politicians we're talking about, so we don't really know what their intentions were, but we won't even get there. Let's just assume they had good intentions. But the execution, we're not asking for that. We did not ask for you to try to appropriate a culture. Like we're just not asking for that. That's not what
There's
we
just I would say about that situation, it's like funny to me because I saw it too, right? And the first thing I thought was, where the F are your PR people? And for the love of God, get a couple of Black friends, because they would have told
There was a Black lady that was kneeling with them, and I was disappointed.
I saw, and there's a Black man in there too, and I was like, where are the PR people? For those of you that know, like my degree is actually in public relations. So when I see certain things, I'm like, there's no way you talk to somebody about this. You got the appropriate sign off. What is it? And then the kneeling, I think also is to me my new hashtag I don't believe you. And the reason I don't believe you is because I think you're going to extremes. You can get the same, like you said, on execution, right? You can get the same point across about what you are trying to do, what's on your agenda, without even putting any emphasis on the Black at all. And then you're stealing from Cap, right? Like Colin Kaepernick. It was not, you guys did not support him when he was kneeling for the NFL and doing all those things. And I think it's uncool for you to even be doing that now. So whoever came up with that concept, big slap in the face for you.
I mean, not only that, there was another thing, I believe it was in either North or South Carolina, maybe Tennessee, I forget which state it was, but there was protesters, and there was a whole bunch of white people that was like, hey, we're your allies, and they resorted to washing the protesters' feet.
Oh my God.
Like, you can be my ally, but you don't have to wash my feet. Like, and I get the whole
Jesus
servant and Jesus. I get that, but I'm like, no.
But here's the thing. The thing with the Jesus doing it was because
No, you can unmute. It's okay.
The dog started barking. The thing with Jesus doing it though was Jesus was like, I'm free of sin. I kind of know that I'm in a different position than you are. So I feel like that's super, super messed up that they did it in that situation. Like,
Yes.
It's like no
like
matter
when they
how
do
many
foot
times you
washing
bring
at
it,
church, when they do foot washing at church, it's the priest that does it,
Right. The
the
leaders of the
congregation.
church.
Like what? Mm, mm-mm.
it's
I
like
had not seen that. I had not seen that. Okay.
it's like how many, no matter how many different ways you slice that whole thing up, it was a no-go on every level. The washing of the feet, no. The kente scarves, no. The kneeling, no. All of it, just no. It was a no.
Like you guys have totally missed the ball on why we're
On that
upset.
one.
You have you're in a position, and this is going back to the Democrats kneeling and stuff. You're in a position where you can make effective change and start petitioning to change these laws and stuff. Instead of doing that, you decide to order some damn kente cloths and kneel. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I mean, I was thrown by that. Honestly, you guys, I was like, this can't be life right now.
Right.
So
I think I think like again, if you're all like if they're all now trying to come together and formulate a plan and give us something and really truly show that they're, about this movement and everything that it represents, I don't want to take my thing is like as a PR person, I don't want to distract from the message. I don't want to distract from the end goal. And I think all of those things distract from the end goal. I can't hear you right now because I'm too distracted by these three things you're doing. And so that to me takes away from it and ultimately leads to distrust and why people don't necessarily trust you, right? Because you're doing these things. And some of these things, again, are the exact thing that we're talking about. And your message is getting lost in these semantics or these, big things you're doing.
In your performance.
Very performative.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah, so that brings me to say, like, okay, so we want policies changed. We want things to happen as far as the adults go, but what are we teaching our kids? Through the whole, through all of this, what, because eventually they're going to be, the next generation that's going to carry on, the laws and the policies, and they're going to be in place. Like, what are we teaching them? Like, how are we changing the mentality? You know what I mean? So I know a lot of you, Jenna, Shernette, Sandra, you guys have teenagers. Give me a little bit of their experience, just, in their high schools or in their schools, or, what have we learned from, these older kids, like them going into, okay, now I'm old enough to protest. Now I'm old enough to have a voice. What are we saying to them?
I guess I'll start. First and foremost, I'll speak first to what I'm teaching her, and I'll say this with like all respect, so nobody misunderstands what I'm about to say. I'm teaching her the same things I was always teaching her. Just because the culture and everything that we're finding ourselves into now, and it's getting national, global attention, even government attention, doesn't change anything for me. None of these things are set in stone yet. I hope some of this stuff becomes permanent that they're doing, but I also don't necessarily, I'm not a rah kind of person. I'm not the person that's going to be like, yep, everything's taking note now, so change will happen. I'm going to wait and see. I'm one of those, right? So from that perspective, I'm teaching mine the same thing that I've always taught her. I will say that from my impression of my own daughter who's 20, I don't think she really has a concept of what any of this crap really means. And so from my perspective, I think I may have done a bad job because she is not really fully aware. She knows she's Black, of course. She knows that, all those things, but like she's got mixed friends and all, like a diverse group of friends. I live in a very diverse area of Tampa, and I don't think and I would say that for any millennials, so any of the millennials today, they don't have the same concepts of racism the way that we do. And so as a result of that, the things that I'm sharing with her, the things that I've always had to them, and what every other probably Black parent in the world has told their kids about how to interact in the world. So respect, do this, treat people this way. The world may not necessarily be ready to show you the same, but that does not change who you are as a person. So my thing for her is again, it's been pretty much the same as it always has been.
I have a little woke monster over here. My daughter is so woke. It's it's really crazy, and I think it's because she's in this high school where it's probably like 15% black, Centennial High School, and she just have a lot of kids in that school who's very like racist. Like the football team, she said, it's all black boys, and when they go to a game, you have people from other school in this area who saying, "Where's your dad?" They're just making all these racial slurs to the black kids at these games. I'm like, are you serious? Right now in Roswell, this is going on? Oh yes. Like even she'll show me their Instagram and what's on their Instagram. So I didn't have to really tell her how to think. She already knows. She already know who she is as a black woman. We have those conversations. She's very political. She's very like out there, outspoken, just ready to go conquer the world and defeat racism. And I'm so proud of her. I could tell her stuff and have conversation with her, and we get into political conversation. But I'm just so proud that her experience alone that she had in high school make her think the way she thinks, and I love the way she thinks. So it's tough, but I only thing I could do is encourage my daughter and tell her how beautiful she is, how intelligent she is, and keep fighting the good fight. And she still have her white friends to support her, her Hispanic friends. She have a good mixture of friends, and I love that about her. I love how she thinks. I love that she thinks for herself, and she could conclude people based upon how they interact with her for her own opinion of people. And I'm just so proud of her. I'm really happy that I didn't keep her in a all black school. And the reason why I didn't do that is because I don't want her to not know how to interact with people from different
Right.
races and
So
not to
let me
walk
ask
with
you
her head.
this, Charlotte. Do you feel like you need to react or interact with people differently based on whether they're white or black?
Well, I'm just saying, in the sense of, for instance, there's a lot of black kids who don't know how to interact with white people. I could give you an example. Like, if I take one of my probably like one of my nieces and we went to Disney World and someone white talking to her, they'll hold their head down. And I'm like, what? Hold your head up when you're interacting with people. Like, don't feel as if like you have to hold your head down to talk to people of a different race. You know what I mean? I feel as if like when you expose your kids to
That's
other
the
race,
culture.
huh?
That's part of growing up in the United States, and it's even more part of growing up in the United States and in the South. And like it's ingrained in that's almost like a generational, almost now
Yeah,
ingrained into everybody into our DNA. Because like my grandparents and even my parents, like I'm 44, so they were a part of that civil rights era and all of those kind of things. So that was ingrained in them, and to a certain degree, then passed on and ingrained into a lot of us. So I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken. I'll let somebody else maybe talk about it. But I feel like I think you're doing the right thing, right, by correcting the behavior and establishing this sense of like pride and self and how to look a man in the eye, or a
yes,
woman in the eye,
yeah,
and how to do a handshake. But like that's to the point that I was making earlier about like I was doing the same things because I was always teaching. Like you know what I'm saying? Like for you, you're always teaching Chloe that. You were always doing that.
oh
That's
yeah.
not you with the situation. And so like for me, I'm like, yeah, I've always taught Lauren those same things. So that part of it hasn't changed.
And the thing is, I do that with every kid because I interact with kids every day on a daily basis for what I do. And especially, and it may sound weird, but for me, for when I interact with a black kid and have their head down, I would lift their head up and interact with them. I want you to look at me and look me in the eye. Don't ever hold your head down when you're interacting with anyone. It's not a symbol of disrespect to me. It's a symbol of, you know what? I let's talk. Let's have a conversation. It's a
Mm-hmm.
symbol Don't of something knowledge. shameful. It's a symbol of, I'm a good listener and I can hear you looking you in the eye. Like I don't need to be talked down to. It's a symbol of that I am above the mentality that I am the oppressed. You know, like I feel like
Or
that
inferior.
inferior. I feel like that inferior mentality it really is a generational thing that has been inherited. At the
Right.
same token, I feel like that supremacy mentality has also been inherited. And the only way for me, honestly, to see a change in racism is to start there. We have to start breaking down this mentality that one is superior over the other one and one is inferior. You know, that's where we have to start with building the kids up, you know, because and you know, it's funny, I've started many Facebook posts that I've deleted, and one of them that I wanted to talk about was that, you know, for me, I heard about Black leaders, I saw Black leaders, I saw Black business owners, I saw Black entrepreneurs, I saw these things. I knew these people personally as a child, so then I became one. You see what I'm saying? And so it's just like, I feel like not only do Black kids need that exposure to those things, but also other races need the exposure that Black people are capable, because then we won't grow up with that biased mentality, the expectations of Black people. So then next time you see me with a hoodie on, I won't be such a threat. Or next time you see me jogging, I'm jogging the same way that, you know, Jim is jogging over here, you know, and next time that you see me doing whatever the case may be, maybe my mentality will change and my expectations of who you are will change, because I grew up knowing there are Black leaders and inventors and business owners. And so we don't have to exploit. Well, where are all the Black businesses? You know, I was telling them earlier that I saw in a mom's group, one of my friends posted, which I don't think there was any malicious intent behind it. She posted, hey, can I know where all the Black owned businesses in Roswell and Alpharetta? And I was just like, you know, of course, yeah, if you're wanting to send your money and support, I wholeheartedly want you to do that. But if you've already been supporting your community, then you've already been supporting us. And so that's what makes me kind of like, wait, hang on. Weren't we always here? Weren't Black people always owning businesses in Alpharetta and Roswell? Like all of a sudden now it's like, well, where are they so I can support them? But you've been supporting your community.
But not necessarily, dear.
No, I agree. Yeah.
I don't think I necessarily agree with that, because I mean, think about the area that you're in. I mean,
Thank you. The bubble we live in.
yeah, the bubble that you live in.
Alpharetta.
And listen, I will even say for me, myself, and I'm in Henry County, and a part of Henry County where I'm around a pretty good, it's pretty diverse. I would probably say predominantly Black in the area that I'm in. And I don't necessarily shop all Black, or I don't necessarily spend in Black owned businesses. You know,
Me neither. But that's what I'm saying. Like, even in my community though, like I would rather go to the mom and pop coffee shop than I would go to the Starbucks or the Dunkin' Donuts. And I had this discussion earlier. Like,
I agree with that, but the mom and pop coffee shop might be white owned too, so she's not necessarily.
Might be Asian owned, but might be Black owned. But that's what I'm saying. I'm supporting my community, you know. And I feel like now when you're saying, well, where are all the Black owned restaurants and where are all the Black owned this and Black owned that? It's just like, well, if we were a part of your community somehow or another, I feel like you would have been supporting us from the jump.
I still don't agree with
Can
that.
I interject?
I don't either.
Because I'm these people asking questions like that. I have not asked that, but I've seen it on Facebook where everybody's got lists going now, like, hey, you know, family owned Jamaican food or blah 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 blah. Like, stop going to Stone, stop going to, you know, Houston, stop going to all the, you know, whatever. Here's my point. If they want to spend money and support Black businesses, thank you very much. It's about damn time that we haven't been. Here we go. Like, you just fit in at this point and take any positive out of it that you can. That's my little ignorant white mind talking right now. Okay. But it does come across that way to me where it's like, you know what, if these women, because I know women in my neighborhood, the only reason they can say they have Black friends is because my husband and my children, and we just drop kids off in the driveway. We're not friends. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So if these women who don't even have Black friends in their lives are at least seeing, I want to support you and I don't know how and I got money to throw, let them do it. Get the list going.
Oh, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I'm just saying that if we've been a part of your community Like you supported my business because of my business, not
But
because
you guys got connected somehow or some way. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like you're gonna deal with the people that you've been exposed to. So just like Jenna was saying, because her neighbors have not been exposed to any other Black people, they're not likely to spend at Black-owned businesses, whether
I
they're
actually,
in the community or not.
and I actually have a different approach to it altogether. Like from so this is the way I see business in general, right? And I will use this example because this is when it like hit me that I had a feeling, right? I had an opinion about supporting Black or whatever. So I'm a part of a lot of book groups. I read a lot of books or whatever. And lately, my favorite books to read are these interracial love stories. They run the gamut or whatever, right? So most of those are written by Black authors. And so I joined one of these Facebook groups and getting out there and I'm like telling this author hey, you're an independent author, you're Black, you're a woman, the content of this book is really good, but I can't quite get over all these damn typos and all these grammatical errors and in the book or whatever. And all of a sudden I discovered this, pattern with all these, some of these Black authors. And I hate to say this, but it's like, you actually expect people to support a subpar product or a subpar business just because I'm Black. Just because we share the same skin tone, you want me to actually accept that this shit, sorry for the language or whatever, that this book is really poorly written or this business is poorly run. I come into the Black business, I want to support you, but I got to deal with bad customer service, not really good food. And I'm not saying this is true for all Black businesses. I'm saying I think it's odd that people are now pushing this narrative out there on people that you should support this business just because it's Black. No, I want to support it because you're offering me a good service, it's actually quality product, and it's reasonably priced for my pocketbook and my family and my household, and I actually like you. And you stand for something. That's what I'm looking for.
That is my point. I have majority of my clients and majority of the parents that I work with are white. They don't work with me because I'm Black. They work with me because it's a quality product. It's because I give good service. And honestly, I'm a likable person outside of being Black. Now.
And also the area you're in. Yes. You're in a predominantly white area.
And that's
most of your clients are going to be white.
And let's face it, that is just good marketing. That's all that is. Location, product, service is all just good marketing.
That's good marketing because when I was doing personal training and traveling, I traveled to Stone Mountain for quite a few clients. And living all the way out here, I did not mind traveling out there. And it wasn't that I was traveling out there because I honestly really liked them. No, because I wanted some Black clientele, and that's the funny thing.
Right.
So it's just because I wanted to make sure I was offering that everybody could get a piece of what I feel like is a great service,
And I agree with that. Everybody that knows me knows I'm huge on customer service. As before nursing school, all of my jobs have been customer service in the customer service field. And so I will walk into, I don't care if it is a big corporation that's white owned. I don't care if it's the mom and pop store or whatever. I don't care. I will walk into a place and you can ask my husband, you can ask my little sister. I don't know if Diari experienced it with me or not, but definitely those two. I walk in and if I don't feel like I'm respected, like my thing is I choose to spend my hard-earned money with your company.
That part.
You should appreciate it.
That part.
So if I don't feel respected or valued as a customer or a consumer, then guess what? I can choose to take my dollars elsewhere.
That part.
Yeah.
And it's regardless, I feel the same way, Darcy. It doesn't matter to me if it's white or Black or whatever. Sorry, Darcy. And I can't support some places like I said, bad quality, bad customer service, not respecting customers. Period. Like I can't. I don't. And I just don't I think sometimes again as a culture we get caught up in we should just support because we've not had these opportunities before, and I just don't agree with that. I don't. Yeah. That's like telling somebody it's okay to step on your foot and not say excuse me. I don't know. I shouldn't have to accept like subpar anything, you know, where I spend my when it comes to my dollars. And again, like, because I know I have some friends that own businesses too, other than Ari, and I see their posts all the time. And I'm like, I don't even need a T-shirt. You want me to just buy a T-shirt because I don't need a T-shirt. I'm good. Like get to businessing and doing something that I actually need, and I promise you I'll support.
Okay, so then that leads me to my next thought that I had earlier, and I was just like, I wonder how many Black-owned businesses have actually monetized off of this entire movement recently. Because let me tell you, if I have not gotten any extra summer camp enrollees. I've not gotten any extra students enrolled in my classes. If you don't need my service, honestly and truly, I don't think people are going to sign up, whether I'm Black, white, or anything. So it's just like, I don't know what, I mean, I get it again. If you want to go and support, I wholeheartedly say support. But like you are saying, I don't need any t-shirts right now, and I don't need any of any of the, whatever. I did need some masks, and I did buy them from a white girl, and then everything started happening, and then I found so many Black people doing it too, and I was just like, dang it. But I mean, I got what I needed, which was the product. So I was just like, come on.
Diari, get back to like where you started with people posting, to support the Black businesses. And now that we've all gone full circle, and I love that conversation, it was great. But what do you guys say to the women who don't have Black friends? How can they, how do we get them to, they're trying to figure out something to do.
Just like there's a push for companies to diversify their staff and diversify, their leadership boards or what have you. I think just like Diari was saying, people need to see Black people in a good light. So you need to get out there. I mean, we're here. Yeah, we might be 13% of the population, but we're here. I promise to you, it's a lot of us. We're around. We're easy to find. You know what I'm saying? I would much rather a white person come up and just ask me or talk to me about something than assume. You know what I'm saying?
Just don't touch your hair.
Just don't touch my hair. Don't touch my hair.
It's funny because, okay, so let me tell you, when coronavirus happened, I live by a lot of Asians. I kid you not, I noticed a wave of Asians all of a sudden speaking to me, being kind, waving at my kids, and it was like, don't fear us, we did not bring this here. And I was just like, that never crossed my mind. Hi, how are you doing? I speak to everybody anyway, So when this happened, I noticed a wave of white people doing the same thing. And I'm just like, you know what? Thank you. I'm glad that you're saying hello now, because guess what? I've always taught Leanna will walk up to anyone and it's scary. And she'd be like, hey, give me a hug? Can I, and it's just like, I just don't want her to walk up to the wrong person that's going to look at her sideways, and then I'm going to have to say something. Okay? So it's a nice feeling to say, hi, how are you? We're human. Yeah, everybody believes. Trust me, if you fall and I fail, it's going to hurt both of us, okay? So it's just like, I just feel like I'm happy that people are exposing themselves to other cultures now, and they're becoming more aware. I'm happy that,
It's weird.
It is kind of weird, don't get me wrong.
It's just weird.
But at the same token, it's just like, I mean, what else are they gonna do? Like, how do you teach? I don't want a month to be dedicated for my Black history.
I agree.
I want that to be a part of American history.
It is American history, point blank, period.
I don't want my history to start with slavery. You know what's funny? We had friends growing up, three white girls, and we loved them to death, Rebecca, Jenny, and Aubrey. And we lived down the street from them, and they were our best friends for years. And they were Renaissance dresses, so it made me fall in love with the Renaissance era and all this. But when I watch these movies, I'll never see any Black people, as if we didn't exist. And I'm like,
And see, that's the thing. That's why I kind of get it on both sides. For the people, for the white people that's out there that are not truly racist. You see where I'm going? I feel like we've talked about, they've lived in their bubble. Racism hasn't affected them. They're truly ignorant to it. You know what I'm saying? So I get like just now coming out and wanting to be like, hey, I'm sorry this has happened to you. What can I do to make you feel better? Or how can I show you that I see and I hear you? You know what I'm saying? Like I get that. But on the other hand, because I've experienced every day of my life, I've lived as a Black woman, because I've seen my husband experience uh uh um what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Where police just pull them over for driving black. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Profiling.
say profiling, yes, racial profiling. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. Because I've seen him. I mean, I've seen that happen several times. And thank God he was able to walk away and tell me about it, or stay on the phone, and you know what I'm saying. And thank God, one knock on wood, my boys have not been, besides us talking about it, they have not experienced any racism. However, I will say, after I sat back and looked at all of this, several times we've been out to eat, and there will be older white couples just staring at us. Me, my husband, my boys, we just eating, not doing anything. We had one older white man come up to us and say, "Your boys are so well behaved." And he walked away. And I thanked him, because at the time I'm like, oh, okay, he see 3 kids, he expect, maybe a kid to be crying or whatever. But then in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, did you think because we were Black, we was gonna act unruly, or like what? What
No,
was the point of you telling me that my kids are so well behaved?
they probably
Oh,
thought
because
your
I'm a
kid's
Black
gonna
woman
act.
that I can train my kids to have respect when they're out. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
girl.
So it's one of those that it's just like, I don't know how to take this.
Let me say this. Where I live now is predominantly Caucasian. I was a part of a gym that was like 95% white. And one of the things that I noticed in that place, in the gym, because it was a family friendly gym, and so people would bring their kids in, and they had a little playroom for them to play at or whatever. And I'm looking around the room, I'm like, I have never seen some more unruly kids before in this history. This is going to the stereotype, thing, right? Because I'm like, wow, do white people really let their children just run amok like this? Like, what is going on? Because I'm like, my daughter's like 18, 19 in there with me. I'm like, you stand right here. Just stand by me and don't move, and all of these kind of things. And so I don't think, like, when that person saw you, Doris, I don't think that they were thinking like, oh, it's white or black. I mean, in that way, I don't think. I would have assumed, like, if it were me and I had experienced the same thing, I probably would have been like, oh, it's because they let their kids run amok. You know what I mean? Like, it's more common for them to be more free, and and Black people are a little bit different. Like, you know how we are. We're like, when we go in this store, don't ask me for nothing, don't touch nothing, you ain't getting nothing, stand right, we leave it. You know what I mean? Versus, I mean, it's just I think it's just culturally different. But
So glad.
not trying to say your experience wasn't valid. You know what I mean? Like that.
I mean, at the time, like I said, at the time, I didn't think anything of it. He gave a compliment, what I thought was a compliment. I said thank you. He walked away. We moved on. We continued eating. But like I said, it's moments like that that make me think, like, was there something more to that?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
it
think
goes
it
back
kinda-
to that guarded behavior that we were
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about.
That's,
That leads me to wanting to bring up the stereotypes, to bring it a lighter thing before I go into my lightning round of questions. What are some funny stereotypes, or not even funny, it could be harmful. What are some stereotypes that you would feel like is something like that either happens in a Black family or only happens in a white family, or happens in your family that you're friends with? Like, for me, like, if something happens in my family that my Black friends would be like, girl, only white people do that, right? You're looking like, really? Is that a thing? Like,
One of those, that's some white people shit, because I agree, and I say that a lot.
I did that earlier about my animals, because I got so many animals.
Your sound going in and out, DR. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay. I was talking about this earlier that I got really big dogs in my house and a cat, and having so many animals. A lot of my Black friends, they're like, that's a white people thing, Ari. Like, you really need to get rid of those animals out of your house.
Listen, maybe not so much now, but when you had like 12 cats in your house, I was like, Black folks don't do that shit. Black folks don't do that shit.
I'm gonna go ahead and agree with the rest of everybody else in the consensus and say one cat is white people stuff.
I was gonna say white people don't have 12 cats. If they do, they crazy cat people. Not an arm.
Okay, so what are some more? I think one harmful one that I would like to bring up is that Black people don't swim.
Black people don't what?
Swim. Yeah.
I know how to swim.
Yeah, that's a
I do not know how to swim.
Sorry.
I'm the stereotype. Damn it. Me too.
Don't worry. I was a teenage mother, but I only got one baby daddy. That's my stereotype because they think Black women got several baby daddies. I only got one.
Oh,
and I married him. I'm not on welfare.
Me either.
I got one too.
Those are all very harmful stereotypes. So what are some more?
Oh my God.
Well, since we were just talking about it, I think the one that I definitely had for sure was that like white people are not disciplining their children. They're just like they're not disciplining their children. Like white people don't discipline their kids. You're gonna be like,
yeah, without a doubt. It night and day different parenting styles. Night and day different parenting styles.
Yeah.
I think the gentle parenting, and don't get me wrong, I know several Black people that adopted the gentle parenting theory, if you will, but I think white people tend to do that a little more so than Black people.
Oh, without a doubt. And here, this is what this group is for.
Right.
Okay.
Safe space. Safe
space. Thank you. I feel like the sit down, shut up, don't ask questions has really stunted a lot of men of being able to communicate.
Black men, say it. Black men.
What they feel. Where white families, I wasn't asked. But I wasn't told to sit down and shut up. I wasn't told not to have an opinion. My number one thing that I'm trying to do right now is to learn emotional regulation, like how to respond to this shit better. We were the latchkey kids. We didn't have parenting. I started cooking in the 3rd grade because if I wanted something to eat, I could find it and cook it. I didn't. Yeah. Thank God, because I can survive in this world. These kids are spoiled across the board these days.
Absolutely.
But I really feel that the whole sit down, shut up, don't ask questions is very dangerous.
Jenna, I agree with you. And this is something we kind of hit on last time we got together. And I was telling them that, I encourage my boys to have feelings. I'm like, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be upset. Whatever you're feeling, like, it's okay to feel that. But how are we going to, like you said, how are we going to regulate those emotions? That's what I'm trying to hone in on now. And I feel like there's a fine line between letting them be so freely with their feelings, if you will, and disrespect. And I'm like, there's a time when, yes, you can express how you feeling, but watch your mouth and stop talking back. You know what I'm saying?
I think kids and ring them back in. You've got to. I mean, you can have an opinion like you said, but you've got to do it with respect. You've got to do it with the fact that the person's trying to learn. They're not trying to scold you for your opinion. They're just simply trying to learn how to be able to have these feelings and want to cry and want to feel horrible. Be told.
But can we also talk about the flip side of that too? The flip side of like for me is like also teaching our girls, and this is the thing, like I had a problem with this quotation since it came out, right? The angry black woman. Oh, I have such a problem with that. And the reason I have a problem with that stigma is for the simple reason that I feel like it invalidates my ability to be able to discern for myself what I can be upset about. Right? I don't need the world to tell me what I can be mad about. I can actually be mad about what happened to George Floyd. I don't need you to tell me that when I should be upset. If something upset me, there's a reason behind that. I'm a human being with emotions and all of those things too. And so I always hated that stigma that follows us around. And I feel like, like just like black men are like been taught this certain thing about how they're supposed to be, and they can't show emotion, they can't cry, they can't do anything. And then it's the same exact thing for the black woman. If we do, then we have to deal with everybody else's criticism and critique of what that is. I hate that. Like I can't stand that. Like no, I'm actually mad because you stepped on my foot. That shit hurt. I'm actually mad because I show up for work every day and I work really hard and I get passed over for a promotion. I'm pissed off. That stuff sucks. Or I'm actually mad because my dating life sucks. I don't know. Whatever it is, like I'm just saying, like when somebody put that kind of a stigma out there on it, it just removes, it's oppressive. You know what I mean? It removes your ability to be able to feel whatever you're feeling and deal with it.
Yeah. And I think
I 100% agree, Sandra.
we need to teach our kids better coping skills because at the end of the day, better coping skills, because at the end of the day, so then, like you were saying, there should be some kind of reining in on this. You don't want it to be like where, okay, on one end, you're being too stern and they're emotionless and they're emotionally detached and they don't know how to really cope with their emotions. And then on the other extreme, you have which people will pose as the opposite, what they call weak millennials, the guys that are like too emotional, where they're like, okay, you're overly sensitive, like how do we and I hate saying the word feminized, but it's almost like, and that's another thing that's out there. Oh, if you're not this certain way with your men, then they're going to be feminized. And I'm just like, wait, hold on. Well, where is that fine line? How do we teach them coping skills to deal with their emotions, but at the same time, still have, the ability to, we want them to feel, but it's just like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I think that there's two types of, there's one extreme and then there's the other extreme, and you're trying to find that middle ground, and it's just really hard. Same thing with women. Like, I feel like we grew up with a really strong, very masculine, very, the machismo father, that the guy that was just like an alpha guy. And so, I feel like I've inherited that kind of strength, that kind of that kind of kind of ability where it's like the tough love approach, and so then it's like, then the other end, you have the passive woman. So where do we find that fine line,
Oh, the fine line is simple. We accept everybody for their differences, and that's like the culture, that's like the core of what we're getting at here, right? And the space that we're in right now. It's about acceptance and accepting that everybody is different. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm aggressive and, I'm that woman. Like, I don't have a problem with y'all telling anybody to tell you, girl. And so, I mean, but I need a space too to be able to, like, Ari,